Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Motoring Mind. I'm JP, and today we're working on a storm door here, and we're going to be replacing the latch on it. This one no longer works properly. We'll take it out and put a new one on. So that's what we'll get started with. Take a few minutes to get set up, and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, we're all set up here now. Again, what we're doing is we're going to be removing this latch here and these handles. All of these take Phillips. Except for the handles, they take an Allen, which y'all have seen me show you this handy dandy little electric screwdriver here. Of course, you know, it's USB charged, comes with all the bits and everything you need. So that's what we're going to be using. And first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and remove the handles here. There's just a little set screw here. Take that out. That slides right off. And then we should be able to just pull that out. Of course, I'm going to put this little set screw back in here so that we don't lose it. Because I grew up with Depression era grandparents that never threw anything away. And because of that, my father and my aunt and uncles are all a little bit of pack rats, but you know, they also know how to repair things, and when they run into that problem, they got a little spot in their garage. They can go out there and pick up whatever tool they need and whatever spare part or something they can turn into a spare part, and they fix things. And that's kind of the philosophy I was raised with. So I keep screws and everything else. I got a whole drawer of them in my, or well, in one of my toolboxes anyway. I tell you, these little electric screwdrivers really make quick work of this kind of stuff. You know, you could use a drill with a Phillips bit in it if you wanted to. I think it's a little bit of overkill for this. And there's our little faceplate there, our discussions. Alrighty, let's see here. Oh, that's screwed in too. Probably with that one right there, if I had to guess. That's what holds our lock cylinder in, which is where all this problem started. He told me that he could lock it, you know, from the inside and unlock it no problem, but the key stopped working on the outside, and he was always scared that he'd lock himself out. So it's probably in that cylinder there. Of course, you know, you could probably take, and of course I can actually see the pins here, and one of them is actually kind of rusted. But you hit that with some 3-in-1 oil, or put some dry graphite powder down actually in the keyway and make that work again. Alrighty, and we got a few more screws here to remove. And there it is. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put y'all on hold or pause here again for just a moment, and I'm going to get the new parts, and then we'll get started. I'm putting the new one back in. Alright, so we got our new parts here, and sorry about that. This is our new mortise lock, and of course it says up here, and we put that in there. And immediately we see the problem. This is not facing the correct direction. So what we have to do is take this plate off of the locking mechanism and flip it. And you'll notice it has another hole here just for that, so that we can get it in the correct orientation. And then we'll have to drill this edge here to put the new screws in. so that we can get it to all line up. So first things first here, we'll grab our handy dandy little electric screwdriver, and we're going to flip this plate. Well, I need to grab a bigger bit. That little Phillips is just a little bit too small. But that is what I like about this kit, is it comes with every kind of little bit you could possibly want in different sizes. Even has some Torx in here, which come in real handy. And I think we'll try the medium one there. That should give us the action we're looking for. And of course, you know, you can use this like a regular screwdriver as well and just twist it. And it has enough resistance that you can like break screws loose like I just did. And then of course you can use the electric function to back them out. That makes it quick and easy. Alrighty, now that we got the plate off, should be able to just, you see what I did there? I flipped it from this side to that side. That's all I did. And then of course this mechanism down here, that's the actual like deadbolt lock. So we'll get this put back on here. And of course, if you look at this plate real close, you'll notice that this top hole here has a couple of little tangs sticking out. Those always go on your actual striker here. And the clean hole is for your deadbolt at the bottom there, as you see. Let me get this put back on. And then we'll get it over here in the door and get it all lined up and see where we need to drill our new holes. Of course, it's got some torque to it, so this, you know, despite being a little handheld screwdriver, it's actually got 3 speeds and 3 torque settings, and you just adjust those right here by twisting this 1, 2, 3, and of course it's got an off position as well. And if you've got a screw that's really tight and you're trying to get it undone, you switch it to that off position and use it just like a regular screwdriver. Alrighty. Now we can slide that in there and push it up into position, and looks like that's going to get it right there. And actually it looks like our holes actually line up. So I'm going to pull out the screws that go with that, and we'll get it put in to place, and then we can start putting the bars in that actually use it for the door handles. And you'll notice that there are 2 different lengths there, and of course we'll probably be using the shorter of the 2 because this is not a particularly thick door. Yeah. And now we'll need to pull out the screws that hold this into this aluminum door frame. And now those, when you look through your screws here, you're going to notice that you have some really nice long machine thread screws, but then you're going to have some little short metal screws. You know, they've got a point and they got coarse thread, so they can grab a hold of that and hang on to it. And it looks like we've got 5 of those. Okay, and we'll put the rest of these back in this bag so we don't lose anything or misplace it. Now, I know y'all see me not reading the instructions, and I'm smarter than your average bear. I've done this kind of stuff before, so I don't really need to read the instructions. But I will say, I did glance through them before I started this, just to familiarize myself with it a little bit and make sure that, yes, this isn't any different than many myriads of locking mechanisms that I've changed out on doors before. All right, got that one started, and we'll get it installed here. There we go. And then the other one for the top of the plate. Oh, well, now I didn't see this, but it does look like we're gonna have to drill the top one. So I'm gonna take these little sheet metal screws, put them back in the bag. I'm gonna put y'all on pause for a moment while I pull out the proper drill and drill bit. All right, well, it turns out that I didn't actually need to drill a hole. I just wasn't lined up. Probably when I stood up and actually got a look at it, I could see the hole and where our screw needs to go. So it's in there and we'll get it screwed down tight now.
Shut up and go in the house. Go.
Pardon my client's neighbor. I try not to cuss on my videos, although anybody that knows me knows I do cuss quite a bit. Especially, well, like the other day, I was working on rebuilding the mower deck on my rod and lawnmower, and you see that right there? Yeah, I got myself with the blade. I had the mower deck pulled up kind of in my lap and was putting the new spindle pulleys on the top, and I'd just gotten them good and tightened down and everything, and I reached over and spun the left one, or well, on my left anyway, just to see, you know, how nice it's going to spin, because like I said, it's new spindles, and it spun really nice. And then I spun the one, you know, on this side in front of me, and it spun real nice, but then the mower deck kind of shifted in my lap, and so I grabbed it by the edge of the lip of the deck. And when I did, that mower blade come around and it didn't so much as cut me as pinch that little pinky between the blade and the rim of the mower deck. And it did cut me a little bit, nothing serious, you know. But of course it bled like the dickens, but it hurt so bad, and I mean, I cussed a sailor's blue streak for about 15 minutes and then danced around and put pressure on it to get the bleeding to stop, and then went and washed it out and everything, treated it, put a band-aid on it. And my friend was actually in the house, and I was in the garage, and he came out, and of course he saw all the blood and thought for sure he's going to take me to go get some stitches. But no, it wasn't that bad. So yeah, we've got the mortise lock put in place now. So what we need to do next is locate some more parts. Give me just a minute, I'll be right back with that part. Alrighty, welcome back. Okay, I just dug through all the parts here, make sure we had everything. So if you look at these machine screws, you'll notice we've got some really long ones, some ones that are a little less long than that, and they go all the way down to these short ones here. And then of course you got like 3 sets of mediums. Then of course you've got these little plastic spacers that go behind the door handles against the escutcheon plate. And of course we've got our door handles here, and of course they're curved. And here's the actual bar that they attach to, and there's our little Allen to hold it on. Now anytime you have a curved handle like this, the curve goes up like this. So when this goes in, it'll have to go like that there from one side to the other. So what we're going to do next is kind of prep all this stuff. So I'm going to take my handy dandy electric screwdriver that, forgive me, I have misplaced. There it is. And we're going to change out for that Allen bit. Let's see, I think it was that one there. Put that in here. And of course, again, the curve goes up, and of course it's going to face into the door. So this is going to be the outside handle here. Oh, no, that bit's just a little bit too big. I'm going to switch to the smaller one. Nope, that's a Torx. Here we are. And that's it. So we'll put the outside handle actually on the bar mechanism that goes through the lock body and everything. Tighten it down. So this stays in there. And then we're going to get our escutcheons plates here. And of course, here's our lock knob on the inside, our lock mechanism bar, and our key on the outside. The key should be in it with the teeth facing up. So make sure that you get that orientation correct. And then we're going to take and pass this through. And of course we have our other escutcheon plate here, and we'll make sure the locking mechanism goes on. Okay, and this is where you have to make your adjustments. Okay, so this goes on this little locking bar here, and it's just a little bit too long. So what we'll do is we'll take this back out. And if you notice on the sides here, it's got these little spots where you can break it off. And of course, they recommend you do that using a pair of pliers, 2 sets that is. You know, everybody calls a pair of pliers a pair of pliers when it's really only a single, but in this case, we really do mean a pair of pliers. Get this adjusted here. And you want to just kind of sneak up on it, so you don't want to break it off too short. So we're going to take one section off and we'll test it for fit, like so. And then if it needs to go shorter, we'll go shorter once again. So again, we'll bring the escutcheon plates up and get them fed through the holes. Now that one is seated down against the door frame. And we'll take this one and we'll line that up again with the locking bar and the actual knob. And as you can see, that looks like that's got it. It is fairly flush. Now I did notice one thing. You know, I put those handles on that other bar, but this is the shorter bar. And I put it in there earlier, and I think we're going to end up using the shorter bar versus the longer bar for these handles. So, luckily, I've still got that Allen on my little electric screwdriver here. You can just back this out. Ooh, didn't mean to take it all the way out. Alrighty, and now underneath these, I'm going to put them on, is where these little plastic rings go. And if you look, I don't know, you might not be able to see that, but it's got kind of a recessed area and it's split. So if you put your handles on and actually forgot these, you don't have to take them back off. You just kind of put it on like a split ring and it'll go in there. However, the wider side of this needs to be facing out. The narrow end actually sets in the hole there. So we'll do that now and get the handles on. And of course, remember, these are curved handles. Remember how they go? So, since this one's going to be on this, you can't be on this side because it's facing out. It has to go over here. Of course, put our little. Alrighty, welcome back. It took me a few minutes to locate the proper screws as far as lengthwise to get the escutcheon plates screwed to the actual door jamb here. so that we can get the handles and everything else on. And I finally located the correct length screw. That's what I'm doing now, is screwing the escutcheons down. Then we'll get the little spacers for the back of the door handles put on. Make sure our lock is working properly here. And of course it is. Get the other machine screw through here and get the escutcheon plate locked down and into place. Now there's something not quite right here. This plate is setting proud where the lock is, which tells me that more than likely we need to adjust that lock pin again. You know, we broke a little piece off the end of it, and I'm believing that we need to break another piece off. Because it's kind of bowing out on this side, which tells me that this is just a hair long. So we're going to get a hold of it here with our pairs of pliers and break the next one off, like so. Oh. And we'll get it put back into place. And again, make sure your key is teeth up. You put in the mechanism, make sure the mechanism, you know, the actual lock is facing up so that this is in the correct orientation to go through the hole there and through the actual locking mechanism, and that it comes through the other side and engages the knob properly, and it does. And now we can screw the escutcheon plates on. And of course, I apologize not talking here. I mean, this is a little bit of a fiddly thing to do, because you've got to get the two screws lined up, and of course, keep the locking pin engaged with the knob here, which is being a little difficult to do. And you notice that I'm starting these screws with my fingers, because you know the last thing you want to do is cross thread the exact length screw you've got and need. And that bottom one is being extra fiddly. I think I'm going to take the top one actually off, and that way I can actually get the bottom one started, and then still get my lock knob in place. Alrighty, and then I can get the upper one started by hand. Okay, now this escutcheon plate moves around a little bit, so we want to make sure that it is plumb on both sides. before we tighten it down any. We'd hate to get it down there and it be crooked and not look nice. And it is. So we'll go ahead and put the juice to it and tighten that down. Alrighty. So there we go. That's the top one in. There's the bottom one. Now all we got to do is install the handles. So I will switch back to my Allen wrench a little bit here. Get that in there. And of course, we're going to pick up our handles here and pick up our little plastic washers that go behind it. Oh, that's one of the old ones. One of the new ones. Forgive me, I have misplaced one. There it is. And of course, have to remember our handle orientation. Curve goes up. So this one goes on this side. And of course, we want to put, oh no, that isn't one of the new ones. That's one of the old ones. And the way you can tell, again, when we were doing this earlier, is that the new ones have like just a fine little lip on them. And of course, the old ones are completely flat. I don't know if you can see that or not. Well, I know it's right here underfoot somewhere, you know. No, I was mistaken. It's not on the ground at all. It's actually I'll show you what I found. It was actually on the handle. That's why I couldn't find it. Because if it had been a snake, it'd have bit me, you know, because that's how those kind of things go. And of course, you know, that's one of those Southern colloquialisms that our friends from the North may or may not have heard. Alrighty, we got our handles orientated to the proper direction. And now we're going to slide this one on this side. And we'll tighten it down. And then we'll grab the other one and do the same for the other side. And then we'll test it and we'll be done. I'm gonna have to come around and be in y'all's way for just a second. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll move y'all up here where you can kind of see what's going on. All right. Which seems to be my favorite saying today. Alrighty this and alrighty that. Sweet baby Jesus, it is hot out here today. Alright, we'll put our nice little screwdriver up. We're going to gather up all our extra parts and pieces. And then we're going to give this a whirl and see how it works, or how well it works. So let me move my little stool back where it came from. Just a little old planter that he had there. I'm going to move y'all back out of the way here a little bit. And give y'all a little better view. I know, you're tilted. Give me just a second. I'll get you all level again. There we go. This new fancy dancy tripod that I got has got a built-in bubble level. It tells me when it's level. And it's wide enough, unlike that one that y'all saw in episode 2. This one does not blow over in the wind, thank God. All right. So we can release the door there. Oh. Come on. Well, that can give me a little bit of trouble. There we go. All right. And it closes.
I think I still got tape on the other part.
Oh, yeah. Still got some tape over here from the other one. My client just told me that. Y'all may have heard him. Oh, man. Here we go. Now we'll see if it latches properly. Not quite. You can do a little bit of adjustment on it. Oh. And of course I see what it is that is out of adjustment. If y'all look closely, you'll notice the discussion plate is tilted over at the top here on this side. It's lined up on the other side though. So I just need to back off this screw a little bit, relieve the pressure, and we'll get that slid over into place. Alrighty, and we may have to put a spacer behind that to take a look here. And of course, this kit came with a spacer just for this. Oh. But, of course, it also came with a new actual locking plate as well. Oh. Let me get this one put in place and we'll adjust it and then we'll go from there. All right. Now this, unfortunately, although it's got good torque, it does not quite have enough torque to put a new screw through 2 pieces of new aluminum, even with a point. I mean, it got it started in there, but I'm gonna grab my other driver here. It's a little more serious. Put some juice to it and go ahead and drive that on home. Yeah, I got a nice Craftsman 20-volt impact drill here. Drive this little screw in real quick, and then, like I said, we'll get it adjusted. Yeah, there we go. Ball power, as old Tim Allen used to say. Although I'm not real good at the gorilla grunt that he always managed to do, unless I'm trying to get up off the ground. I don't get up and down as good as I used to. But you know, that's how it goes. You get old and all right. Let's see how that does. Still not catching. It needs to come out just a hair. So I'll back off these screws just a little bit. And the holes that they go in are slotted, so we'll be able to slide it forward just a little bit. Alright, let's see if the latch catches this time. No, it does not. Let's see if I can figure out why.
Having any luck?
Yeah. Now, looks like I'm going to need to bring out my adjustment tool for this. It needs a little healthy persuasion. This is just a handy dandy little plastic hammer. There's a little bit of a lip along here, and the other latch has kind of pulled it out a little bit, so I'm going to give it a little gentle persuasion. See if we can't get this to catch. Now there, it caught. unfortunately picked up the wrong one. Let me grab the correct one. Oh man. Ever had one of those days when you seems like your parts just get up and walk away from you?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Ah, there it is. There's a black welcome mat here in front of the door, and of course, this being black as well, I was laying on top of it and I couldn't see it. All right. And of course, if you look real close at this plate, you'll notice these holes are kind of countersunk on this side and they're flat on that side. Of course, countersunk goes out. Huh. Well, I may have to redo that hole. I just noticed that the plate itself was sitting proud of the edge that we just kind of beat down into place. Alrighty. And I'm also going to have to drill that out. So let me get this put in here, and then I'll get it marked. We'll get it drilled, because that appears to be why it's not properly latching down in place. Which I'm going to have to switch back to my heavy duty impact. Punch a new hole. Get this lined up here. While we're at it, let's see here. Ooh, that's not good. He is trying to bind up on me a little bit. You got something that's not exactly lined up here. And that's the way it is with these mortise joints like this. You just got to kind of keep playing with them. And you can't really just jam down real tight on some of this stuff. You do, you'll put it in a bind where it doesn't want to operate properly. It doesn't want to, the handle doesn't want to move like it's supposed to, or the locking mechanism is real stiff, so it doesn't want to unlock and lock like it's supposed to. But again, it's just kind of trial and error, and of course it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I know it requires some finesse at the end to get everything to line up and work properly. Basically what I'm doing is I'm attempting to adjust the handles a little bit. The bar that connects them, although it's the short one out of the pack, it is just a little bit, just a hair long for the thickness of this door, as y'all can see there. And I'm going to get the rest of these plastic washers and put them on there and take up this slack so it doesn't do that. Again, it's just having the experience of doing several of these over the years, and then of course trying to remember. And of course I keep getting bit by a fly here too that's made me wish that I had my electric fly swatter with me. Y'all know the type from Harbor Freight. I knew I was going to have to deal with biting flies. I definitely would have brought it with me. Y'all see what happened there? I took that handle out of there and I let that door close behind me, and now of course it's latched. I took the handle back in there to unlatch it. And there were 2 more plastic washers here, and I'll look. There's probably still some on the old handles as well that we can grab. That will help us take up this extra slack if we need to. Actually, I think that may have it. Oh. Alright, we're going to push this on in and tighten her down. And yeah, that, I mean, don't get me wrong, it still wiggles a little bit, but not nearly as bad as it was wiggling. All right, pull this piece of tape off here that I accidentally wrapped around there. Oh, put that to the side because I don't need that just yet. I do, however, need a little piece of tape, and I need the plate here. And again, we're going to make sure that the countersunk holes are facing in. And we're going to line this up with the latch and with the lock, like so. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little strip of tape here, and I'm going to put that right across the top of that plate, so that when I close this door, I know where it locates on this jamb. See what I did there? Of course, I can close that like that. And I can take another little piece of tape. I can peel this one off. I know where it goes now. I'll take this little piece of tape and hold that one kind of in place while I open the door back up and very carefully peel that piece of tape off. That way, when I take this plate and slide that piece of tape back, I know that it comes up until it touches the bottom of that piece of tape. So now it is located properly on the jamb here. And of course, there are no holes here that match up, so we'll have to drill some new ones. And looks like I need to take my little handy dandy adjuster and make some adjustments real quick. Alrighty, I'm going to get us a screw here on our impact driver. Remember, countersunk out, and bring that up to the edge, and bring this up to the bottom of that piece of tape, and that we properly locate the top of the striker. Now using same set piece of tape to hold the striker in place, now that it's been properly positioned, so that we can get the screw in it. Alrighty, now we can take that tape off, put our other screw in at the bottom. Well, the one tool I should have brought with me that I didn't, my magnet on a stick, is that screw went flying somewhere off into this flower bed. But luckily, I saved the screws from the other jamb. Because, you know, as I was telling you at the very beginning of the video that I was raised by Depression-era grandparents that didn't throw anything away. This is why. Because you never know when you're going to need it. And as I told you, I've got a whole drawer of these kinds of things at home.
Star, get over here. Star.
And that one is just a little bit stripped out, so I'm going to swap it out for the other one that's not stripped out. And it looks like we need to use our persuader just a little bit. Alrighty. And did find one of the other original screws, which is the last one that goes in the center between the passage lock and the deadbolt. And it went right in like it was supposed to. Now let's see if this door latches. Ah, success. And then make sure that the deadbolt locks. Okay, the deadbolt did not lock. Let's take a look and see if we've got something out of whack there. Aha! We need to drill out the jamb here so that the deadbolt has someplace to go. As it stands right now, there's nothing there for it to go into. There's not a hole behind it. So that'll take me just a second to do. Lucky for me, I was a Boy Scout and an Eagle Scout, so I'm always prepared. A buddy of mine who is traveling with me today, who's been watching me behind the camera here, he told me he thought that I over prepared, and I did, but now I'm glad I did, because I've got everything I need. All right, that's got the passage lock. Let's get the deadbolt done. And it latches. Take our handy dandy key here. Remember, teeth up, put it in the lock, give it the old twist, pull it back, and hey, what do you know? Now we're locked. But I do see one other little finagling piece that we need to address. And that's this discussion here. It needs to be tightened down just a hair. I noticed when I push the handle down on the door, it moves. So we need to get it pulled over into place and tighten down these screws on the back a little bit. Not much, just enough to hold it in place, because as you know, earlier we tightened this down a little bit too much, put a little too much torque on it, and it wouldn't properly let the deadbolt open and close. So let's check the deadbolt. Deadbolt works, door handle works, they shut. They shut there, it opens. All right, check the deadbolt function. You get the key up, turn it, it locks, it unlocks. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the conclusion to our video of how to replace a mortise lock and a passage lock on a aluminum storm door. I hope this helps you in the future, avoid any frustration, and maybe saves you a little money and a little time. And where I get that from is a young lady named Bree, who has a YouTube channel called Chicanic, and she's always wanted to save people money, time, and frustration. And I think that's a wonderful motto to live by. And so I'm going to leave it with you. If you please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to click on the bell so you get reminded of my next video. Y'all have a nice day. Bye-bye.